You're tuned in to the Mind of an Entrepreneur show with your host, myself, Sajdah Wendy Muhammad. I am a multi-million-dollar business developer. I have developed business and real estate around the world, and I want to share with you my mental strategies, my technical strategies, and how I made it in the world of business. So I don't teach theory. I tell you about my life and introduce you to people who can also share with you what they've done to become successful. This is a practical show. This ain't a theory show. You don't want to miss it. So stay tuned.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who in my judgment is the master historian, taught us that of all our studies, history is the most attractive, and it is best qualified to reward the researcher. History is most attractive. Why should history be most attractive? Because history is the recorded time of the human family in its struggle to overcome obstacles. There is no life that is without struggle. The Holy Quran teaches us that man, meaning man and woman, is made to face difficulties. And after difficulty comes ease. But it is history that guides us through difficulty. For if you know how people who had difficulty yesterday got through, and if your difficulty is somewhat similar, then today we also can get through if we follow the guidance of history. This is why Carter G. Woodson and many of our black giants fought for black people to know our history. Because in not knowing our history, we don't have a guide. And without a guide, we are lost. No wonder the Bible...
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Mind of an Entrepreneur show. I am your host, Sajdah Wendy Muhammad, founder of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House Museum, also known as Sajdah House. And tonight We are continuing a conversation around an article written by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in the Final Call newspaper entitled A True Friend. And to quote the article, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is indeed a true friend of the Black man and woman, because his message is as relevant today as it was when when he was physically among us. He worked, suffered, studied, and constantly prayed for our rise. He sacrificed his own personal life to devote 44 years to the rise of our people. 2 weeks ago, myself and student Imam Sultan Rahman and Abdul Salam, along with NOI Youth Committee member Joy X, had a live discussion on the Honorable Elijah Muhammad Table Talk YouTube channel on this same subject. I was so full and wanted to discuss this some more, so I reached out to my longtime brother and friend, Brother Wali Muhammad, and he graciously agreed to join me in this discussion. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam, ma'am.
It's so good to see you.
That is mutual. It's great to see you, ma'am.
I'm just excited and so grateful. We got a rich discussion, and I can't move forward without mentioning that we lost a giant this week. Our dear beloved Joshua Farrakhan, brother Joshua Farrakhan, son of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and Mother Khadija Farrakhan, returned to Allah this week. And Brother Joshua has played many important roles in the rebuilding of the Nation of Islam. His contributions are tremendous. And I know you soldiered with Brother Joshua's. Can you tell us about how you witnessed Brother Joshua's impactful contribution to the rebuilding of the Nation of Islam?
Well, my sister, first of all, I really humbly want to thank you. And I'm very humbled by your invitation to your show and your platform, and to find some way to be helpful to you in a great and noble work to restore the home of the greatest Black man who has ever walked among us.
Yes.
A man so important to the rise, not only to Black people, to every human being on this earth, though they know it not. Mm. I thank Allah for this opportunity to be with you. And I would like to say that, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has taught me personally, that we never lose someone.
Yes.
Because they never really belong to us.
Beautiful.
He said they're only on loan to us from Allah. And if you are blessed to be a steward in that person's life, then that is the trust that God has given you over the sacredness of that life.
Yes,
Brother
sir.
Joshua Farrakhan Muhammad.
Yes.
Is such a pivotal soul in the rebuilding work of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad by his lead minister, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Yes.
It was Joshua Farrakhan Muhammad traveling on the road with his dad who decided to record the lectures. It was he who thought that maybe we should high-speed duplicate these tapes. It was he that stayed in the hotel room days after his father had went to the next spot to make sure that every soul that wanted a copy of that powerful, divinely guided message was able to get it.
Wow.
Joshua Farrakhan Muhammad is so instrumental in the work of the resurrection of the dead.
Yes, yes.
It was Yeshua, as I would call him, Joshua, who prevailed on his father for 2 years to get him to sit down and give the finest exegesis of the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad that we have, known as the time and what must be done. It was Joshua that did that. In fact, he really is the architect of what is now known as the Final Call Incorporated or Final Call building.
Mm-hmm.
All that business came from the distribution of those messages.
Yeah.
The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, in those days, he traveled night and day, taught 4, 5 different times in different cities.
Mm-hmm.
But those tapes began to bring fruit. Those tapes went to the college campuses. They went to the jails. They went every nook and cranny as he promised they would.
That's right.
Right?
Yes, they did.
Oh man. So no, we didn't lose him.
Thank you for that correction. Yes.
That's why in the prayer of the Muslims, we ask Allah to deprive us not of his reward.
Yeah.
He's gone. He's returned to his Lord, but we are here.
Yes.
You see?
Yes.
So Joshua, he ain't gone.
Yes.
Yeah, his remains are there.
Yes.
And we will celebrate his life, Allah willing, this Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, oh boy, oh boy, to meet him, woo, you had to be on your toes.
Mm-hmm.
So we thank Allah and praise him.
Yes.
For the womb that bore him.
Yes.
Mother Khadija Farrakhan Muhammad. And of course for his dad, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, as well as his entire family. You know, Joshua got such a long bloodline.
He does.
Himself.
He does.
The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said to me, he said, brother, Allah wants a righteous man to repeople the earth. That's what I said. Repeople the earth.
Repeople the earth. That's
what he told me from his lips to my ear.
Ooh. This is gonna be one, Brother Wali. I see it right now. You know, my father passed in 2009, and it was a star-studded and packed event, his homegoing. And he lived a full life in a very public way. And people came from all over and talked about what a great person he was and how talented he was in basketball. And, Brother Wali, after about 2 days, one of my young nephews stood up at the viewing of the body with tears in his eyes. And he said, I don't know Skinny Pop Pop. In other words, from his young perspective, he had no idea who we all were talking about. He wasn't familiar with that aspect of his pop life. And as I speak with many of our young believers, they don't know us and they desire to know their history. So I have to begin with talking about how and when you were introduced to the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and what roles you played in the rebuilding of our nation under the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Boy, I heard the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, his voice, in September of 1983.
Wow.
It was a tape that a friend of mine had, and it was called The Life of Jesus. And I would say to every young
I don't think
person,
I know that one. Let me write that down.
It might be a lit history lesson today, but not a dead history.
Come on now.
See, you can't recall the history of the work of God in this messenger and be a dead man. Something is not congruent there. That's why the Lord said history is most attractive and best qualified to reward our research.
Right.
See, how could you study history and still be dead?
You can't. You can't.
Yeah, so that sermon, The Life of Jesus, December 20th, 1981.
Okay.
I heard that.
Okay.
And then I saw a brother that I went to school with, Brother Andre 2X, okay. Andre Muhammad. And he said, hey, man, I hadn't seen him in a while. He said, I'm going to this meeting tomorrow. Do you want to come? He said, I'm going to be with Minister Farrakhan. I said, you're going to be with Minister Farrakhan? I said, Dre, I can go? I can really go? He said, yeah, I'll pick you up. Oh, my God. I felt like royalty. Little did I know that he was on the then budding escort team, and he took me to Operation Push.
Okay.
It was December 10th, 1983, and the sermon the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan delivered was called Founders Day.
I know that.
If you recall, my sister, there was an album with he and his friend and brother, Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson, on the front cover of an album which he titled Our Time Has Come.
I have that. Sister Chloe gave it to me.
All right. Well, Founders Day is one of the messages on that album. So when I heard him, I said, "Oh, I'm saluting. I don't know what to do. I'm so excited." And it took me 6 months to the day to get my X.
Okay.
But I was coming around all the time. You couldn't keep me out the Final Call building because in those days, some of the great pioneers were still around. So I would literally sit at their feet for hours and hours and listen to the exploits of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his helpers. I want to drink it all in. And last point on that, when I began to go to the study circle, the subject matter was crafted by Brother Minister Jabril Muhammad. And it was actually titled, Is It Possible That the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is Still Physically Alive? That was the study guide. So we came in on a high. You know, that was 83. I got my X in 84, and I tried to do the best that I could with my studies. And like the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, somebody found out that I could talk. So they made me an officer. And I would teach a lot in the classes. And then Supreme Captain Ali, formerly known as Brother Frank, put me on the security team. And I traveled with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan beginning in 1986, early 87. And I learned many, many things. And then after a while, sis, I have to say, I realized that I wasn't securing him because where he is the safest place on earth. Make no mistake about it. To you young men that's going to be watching and are watching, I know you want to be on security, but don't get it twisted, partner. The word security has the root word secure, which means to be free of doubt. You can't be on security and you carry doubt about the man that you say you following and the man that he is in fact representing. So that's how my journey began, if you will.
Wow. Well, so you and I have an experience that we shared when the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan spoke in New York at the Jacob Javits Center. And somehow I got left by the secretarial staff at the venue along with all the charity. And I looked up and everybody was gone. I don't know what happened. And remember, that was a dangerous event. They was threatening us and everything. And I remember you came back in to check on me and you helped me get the charity to the Waldorf Astoria Hotel.
We got stuck in the elevator.
That's right.
Remember, for like an hour or so. We was the weight of what you was carrying was so great, the elevator would not rise. It sank to the coil.
I had this big old briefcase of money, and when we walked in that lobby, and all those white people was in there, and we got on the elevator, remember, it was crowded, and I thought they was trying to rob us. All I remember, Brother Wali, was I'm gonna fight, and I just walked in the suite with half my Vanguard uniform dirty, and I gave the money to Sister Sophia. I walked in like, remember that scene from Kill Bill when she came up out the grave? That's how I walked in the minister's suite. Everybody looking like, what the hell?
Sis,
but I ain't let that money go though.
December 18th, 1993.
You remember the date. Look at that.
Oh, no. Let me give you some more backdrop. My then wife, we had our first child November 25th of that year.
Okay.
And so the next morning, now it is true, we weren't quite married for 9 months, but we were married. And I wasn't leaving. So the next morning, I'm in the hospital and my phone rings. It's Sister Sophia at 6 in the morning. Now, this is the day after Thanksgiving. I'm like, nah, I'm just telling you. In my mind, I say, well, Allah, you revealed it to your servant that we done had this baby and we ain't been married for 9 months. I'm done. So let me just take this call and just face it.
Yeah.
So she's telling me the minister wants to see me now. I'm like, urgent.
6 a.m.
So I'm pressing. I put my suit on. I don't want to go see such a man like that in clothes I slept in. So I put my suit on. I get over there, and he sends me to New York. That minute, out the hospital bed with a certified cashier's check for $113,000. Where am I going? I'm going to the Jacob Javits Center to put the down payment on the event that you collected the money from.
I remember when you came. I did not know that backstory.
Yeah, he sent me to New York. He told me, I just don't trust the enemy, Wali. Will you take this to New York for me? He said, you tell that Conrad and Dennis that if you want to stay, put you in the finest that New York got. He said, and if you want to eat, tell them I said, take you to the finest that New York got and tell them it's on me. I said, yes, sir. Captain Dennis came to LaGuardia with 80 men. But wait, I got to tell you this part. I'm going to be quiet, sis.
It's okay.
When I get to the jetway, the jetway, they pulled it back. This is before 9/11. I'm late. So I tell the lady, and God Almighty is enough of a witness for what I'm about to say to you. I said, ma'am, I must get on that plane. I am on a mission from God. And she radioed the pilot and said, Mr. Muhammad is here. He said he's on a mission from God. He said, tell Mr. Muhammad that I will oblige him. And I walked on the plane going to New York, and all them kind of Jewish people was on the plane looking at me like, who is this? You know what? Stopping the plane to get on.
Ooh, they was mean that weekend. You remember how they was threatening us and stuff? I thought they was trying to do something to us.
Well,
when we got stuck on that elevator, we had to climb through the top. You remember?
Oh yes, I remember. We were stuck with a whole lot of money. Yeah, I remember vividly, but I also remember too. Well, if y'all gonna come get my sister, then you gonna get some today.
You sure was that?
And you know I ain't lying. This ain't no fabrication and no embellishment.
No, you was like, we got it there though, and we got him his money back too.
That's right.
Praise
That's
to Allah.
That's right.
Man. So in this article, you know, we've been talking about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan wrote, he single-handedly, referring to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he single-handedly, with tenaciousness of will and singleness of purpose, turned the language of America from the use of the word Negro, which means something dead, lifeless, or hard, into seeing ourselves as Black people, members of the Aboriginal nation of the earth. How did this reverberate throughout the Black community, in your opinion? And what is the evolution of this impact from the 1930s to today?
Well, I remember reading an article by one of his helpers who has transitioned, Brother Minister Wali Muhammad, where he cited in his article called Farrakhan the Traveler. He wrote, he said that I was at the dinner table in 1957, where he heard the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad say that I'm going to get my people to refer to them as brother and sister. 1957. A man come to rob you today. He say, hey, sis, I need that purse. He come to rob you today, bro. I need them pockets. You calling me brother and you robbing me. But the idea that we are family is predominant. We just have to now follow up with the examples of true brotherhood and sisterhood, and then our people will fulfill that which the most honorable Elijah Muhammad wants of them. Yeah. The impact of it is far-reaching.
Right.
Even the most boardroom, lip tucked in, tight pant brother, when you get them off in the cut, I don't mean to hurt nobody's feelings. When you get him off in the cut, you can call him brother and he won't act like he's indignant. Yeah. And I, like you, I've been in places, man, listen, I have no shame.
Yeah.
In fact, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said of this man, he said, everywhere you go, he said, on the radio, on the television, in meetings, everywhere you go, you lift up the teachings of our Father. He said, everywhere you go. Why? He is the most consequential man who has ever lived in the last 66 trillion years. Through him, we have the hope of being redeemed and becoming one with God.
66 trillion years. The minister wrote in the same article, Brother Wali, he said he turned our hearts towards Africa and our brothers and sisters in the isles of the Pacific, Central and South America, and the Caribbean. He, more than any religious leader, is responsible for causing us to refer to one another as brothers and sisters, as you mentioned. And from this, he tied us, this is me talking now, to 4,400,000,000 of our brothers and sisters around the planet, identified our family and our ancestry, which dates all the way back to the Creator himself. How has this impact changed the trajectory of Black people in America, in your opinion? And why is this so important?
Well, that's a great question. And forgive me, I get excited, sis. I don't mean to be rude, but okay. I get to moving and bopping because, you know.
Don't move and bop. It's okay.
This is, what else is there to talk about? See, when you're talking about a man who has made a difference in the lives of every human being on earth, and we can prove that in no limit of time.
Come on.
From the health world, now you hear them saying intermittent fasting. Now you see the fella that's over WWF talking about he took a 3-day water fast.
Right.
You know, what are you talking about, a 3-day water fast? You don't want to give the credit to who is due. You weren't talking about fasting and its benefits before the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. You weren't talking about UFOs. You knew a little bit about them, but you still called them UFOs. He never called them that.
No.
He drew it on the blackboard in the 30s. And they came and arrested him in 42.
They did.
Now with Africa, he gave it to us in the lessons that he gave us called Supreme Wisdom Lessons. Why does the devil call our people Africans? Right? And he said that he wants us to think that we are all different. So you got brothers in the Caribbean, brothers in Central and South America, in Asia, in the Pacific, who are beginning to understand that we're the same people, but we might have fell under a different colonial power.
Yes.
So the people in the Caribbean, they speak Spanish. Well, your conqueror was Spanish. But we speak English. Our conqueror was English. But when you wipe that away, we're the same people.
Mm-hmm.
When you look on the continent of Africa at this moment, you see revolution taking place. Well, what does the Bible say? The Bible said that Messiah, his feet were like burning coals. That meant, according to his minister, that everywhere he went, war and revolution came behind him. So now you see young, clean, handsome leaders come up who are fearless, and what are they doing? Kicking the oppressor out of their land. No more can you take our natural resources and benefit, and we are sitting here in the dark, broke, naked, and out of doors. That's happening because of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and through his lead minister, you see revolution taking place where the original people are reclaiming their own.
Right, right. That's exactly right. And let's not forget about hip hop. See, because hip hop merchandising, let me give some statistics on that. Hip hop merchandising was worth $74 billion in 2020, according to Forbes magazine. Forbes' top earning hip hop acts collectively made nearly $300 million in 2020. There was a Nielsen study that showed that in 2017, 31% of radio listeners preferred hip hop. And in 2020, 23.3% of worldwide music album sales came from hip hop or rap music. And in this same article, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad influenced the writings of James Baldwin, Amiri Baraka, Maya Angelou, John Killens, Louis Lomax, and most of the writers who were popular in the 1960s. His influence is seen today in the writings of Toni Morrison and Alex Haley. His teachings inspired Alex Haley to do the research that led to the book Roots. He influenced playwrights and poets and musicians. There is no field of human endeavor among Black people that Elijah Muhammad did not have some positive effect on it. Now, do you think that the recent turn towards hypersexuality, vulgarity, violence, and self-degradation is a way to snuff out the influence of Black consciousness in music and the arts that really was spawned from the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Well, absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
I would say that hip hop, if you remember, hip hop really began in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who was the most honorable Elijah Muhammad's minister in New York City?
Yep.
How many temples did he have?
Mm-hmm.
See, what about the great events on Randall's Island, 70,000 one time, and then come back a few weeks later, another 40? Well, where did those people go who heard the message, but who might not have joined?
Mm-hmm.
They produced children.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the rap group Houdini?
Yes.
With the rapper Jalil?
Mm-hmm.
His parents were in the ranks.
Come on now.
Remember the sister, the great soul singer Etta James?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Etta James was Sister Ruth in the temple in New York City.
I know.
You hear her voice today on a commercial. I want security. That's Etta James. She came, and I think you remember, she came, she had the blonde hair, and she did the beautiful drapes at the headquarters of the Nation of Islam. And she said her name was Sister Ruth, but we didn't know it was Etta James until I spoke to another registered FOA named Charles Muhammad, known to the world as Chuck Barksdale of the Mighty Mighty Dale. Well, Wali, that's Etta James. I said, Etta James? What? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad influenced so many people, so many artists. So hip hop, the enemy knew, because of the work of his minister on the college campuses, he knew that if you don't stop hip hop, he would have that whole generation taking them to his teacher. So what did he do? He sent in gangster rap. He sent in beefs, East Coast, West Coast beefs.
Yeah.
They don't know that Ice Cube wanted to be an FOI.
Yeah.
His assistant brother Ron is an FOI, and Cube wanted to join the ranks. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan told him, brother, you will be a better help to me out here
Yes.
than in the ranks.
Mm-hmm.
So look at all of that influence of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You got the great psychologist, one of the greatest ever, a brother by the name of Bobby Wright in Chicago. Bobby Wright coined the term menticide, the systematic attack on one's belief systems, mores, norms, and values. Bobby Wright, from the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Come on now.
See? Then you got who? You got ICL Ben Israel, registered FOI. You got Tom Joyner, Tom 48X, Joe Tex.
Joe Tex.
He reached and touched every strata of black thought. And his ministers who delivered his message rocked the nation. Marvin Gaye was this close to becoming Marvin X.
Didn't Joe Tex become a minister?
Yes, ma'am. He most certainly did. He most certainly did. And of course, you got Muhammad Ali and Minister Malcolm. So that New York movement is the womb that produced hip hop. It's undeniable. Look at the early days. Did you remember when Public Enemy and Chuck D performed on the stage at Mars Mariana?
Yes, I do.
You remember? On the stage.
Fight the power.
Fight the power on the stage.
I remember.
At the Holy House.
I remember.
Remember that 8-day celebration when he recaptured the Mars? He had people like Roy Ayers, Queen Latifah, Big Daddy Kane, Dougie Fresh. All of these people came who are of the hip hop generation, minus, of course, Brother Roy Ayers. But where did they come from? Who were they listening to? What guidance were they getting? You got Public Enemy. You know, they got the great Khalid Abdul Muhammad on Night of the Living Bassheads.
That's right.
Then you got Minister Ava Muhammad on another one of their top songs. That's the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You can't get away from him.
X-Clan, all of them.
Oh my God. The African Bombarders and all of them, where did they come from?
Right.
Because they didn't come to the Mars? Oh no, they were influenced.
Right.
The sun shines on everyone, whether they acknowledge it or not. The sun still shines.
It's still
You can't escape the light of the sun. If you want to live, you're going to be touched by the light of the sun. So it is with the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his teachings. You alive, you are touched by the sun.
That's right.
In fact, because the sun has fire, it has fire in us from the sun. Well, that's what his teaching is. You can't get away from him. You might not agree with him. My dad listened to who we called the old man.
Okay, that's right.
And then when I came with my ex and my bow tie, he said, boy, I used to listen to the old man, but I never joined. I said, oh, yes, you did.
That's right.
You joined right here. See, Elijah Muhammad got you, man. He got you. He went through you and got your seed. That's a bad man. And that's what he's doing right now today. That's
right. Right now to this very day. And now, Brother Wali, what we're working through is, again, the minister wrote, there is now a conscious effort to write the Honorable Elijah Muhammad out of history. The minister says, however, I am sure that by the help of God, anyone who plans to write him out of history has already assigned to themselves that chastisement. It is sad that so many former followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad have helped knowingly and unknowingly to write this man out of history. Many of us would hear a statement like that and think that it doesn't apply to us. How are we as Black people unknowingly aiding our enemies in their attempt to erase the Honorable Elijah Muhammad from history?
Well, I would say, my sister, that as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, his lead minister, has taught, we say, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah. Muhammad is his messenger. Well, then he taught us what? He taught us what those words mean.
Right.
And because we're functional illiterates, unfortunately, we use language, the depth of understanding we don't possess, because the truth is we're still very lazy.
Yeah.
So I bear witness. He said the letter I is the ninth letter of the alphabet, represents independence and completion.
Yes. Yes.
He said bear means to carry in one's mind. Witness means to give evidence, testimony, or proof. So actually, when we say that, somebody is examining what we do as well as what we say. And because the enemy is so smart, the scriptures teach that he will lie in wait for you in thy straight path. Meaning, even if you think you're obeying God, he's waiting for you. See, the book of guidance for the Muslims says that the deviators are fuel for the fire.
Right.
It's deviation that allows us to help the enemy.
Yes.
See, it's deviation that gives him a stick to hit the messenger of God with. But see, if we just practice obedience, his ministers say what? Sacrifice. The higher, or obedience, pardon me, obedience, the highest form of sacrifice. See, obey means you give up everything. And we just can't do it. It's just, we kick and scratch, but our deviation helps the enemy of God and his servant against him in our own development. So the greatest protection and the greatest testimony is to obey. Obey those in authority. He said, well, how do you do that? We Muslims, we got lead in our foot. Any resemblance of anybody on the screen is not a coincidence. We likes to drive fast. But the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, you have to practice to learn how to obey God. He says, so you practice by obeying little laws.
Right.
Stop at the stop sign.
That's right.
Drive the speed limit. See, those little exercises are helping us to practice to learn to obey the bigger law. Because the enemy's law, his understanding of it is based on the Holy Quran. It's called Sharif. Well, his top lawman is a sheriff. So this is his understanding of divine law. So you're not going to get to God, the big lawgiver, and you don't practice little laws.
Right.
So our deviation, again, is fuel to keep the enemy in his fervent attack against the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. In fact, our deviation is helping him write the script of writing him out of history. I would say that.
That's exactly right, Brother Wali. And now 58 months ago, I acquired the Messenger's former home where our nation was built. We've been pushing and working against all of the elements to get the home finished. We're about the minister said, $500,000. I keep giving the exact figure. He says, sister, you need another 500,000. And so we're working to raise that. And one of the biggest challenges, Brother Wali, is getting our people to place value on our history, both inside the nation and outside of our nation. And so that's why I've now just taken up the mantle of being a preservationist of Black history, of Chicago Black history, of history that is important to our very underserved community. And so I always like to ask people like yourself, what came across your mind when you heard about the acquisition of the home and when you found out that it was your little sister whose life you had saved so many times?
Well, I was very happy, and I knew that you must have knew that Allah was with you, because it's a gigantic undertaking. Mm-hmm. I, in my attempt to follow his minister, I witnessed many things of manifest opposition. Mm-hmm. I heard him put it like this. He said, if you want to know about a man, don't look at his friends, look at his enemies. See? So what you undertook mathematically on paper, it looks like a little thing, because it's really not a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of money.
No.
So what is the problem? The problem is that the people who have benefited from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his work are ungrateful. Ooh. And that ingratitude is rooted in their ignorance on how that one man has impacted every aspect of their life, but they don't know it.
Yeah.
So the job of those who claim to believe is to help make the people know. You got this in the Bible.
Yes, it is.
Jesus was talking. You kind of kick me if I get out there. I'm going to get out there. Jesus asked the question to his disciples. He said, well, who do the people say I am? And they say, well, you this, that, and the third. And then Jesus looked at him. And he realized then that it was not the problem of the people. The problem was the disciples who claimed to be with him.
Ooh. Ooh.
Are you listening?
Yes.
So then he asked another question. Once he realized it was him, he said, well, who do you say I am? And then everybody else had to shut up, and only Peter spoke. Thou art the Christ, Son of the living God. And then Jesus said, and flesh and blood has not revealed this unto you. But nobody else was talking no more. And you got this same picture in the Holy Quran, the book of guidance for the Muslims. It says, and when Jesus perceived disbelief, perceived don't mean he was guessing. Perceived don't mean he was figuring it out. Perceived meant he knew by intuition, innately. He perceived disbelief. Then he asked the disciples, he said, who will be my helper in the cause of Allah?
Right.
But look at the answer that they gave, sis. They said, we are Allah's helpers, and bear thou witness that we are of the submitting ones. Well, wait a minute.
They bypassed it.
If Sister Sajdah is rebuilding the house, and you say, Brother Wali, will you help me? And I say, I'm going to help Allah. Whoa, partner, hold up. Allah working through me. I asked you the question. How you going to skip me and go to God when I'm the door by which you enter? Isn't Jesus called the door?
Yeah.
The book of guidance for Muslims say, what man enters a house except not through the door, except he be a thief? So the problem that you're having is really the weak testimony of those who've been impacted, whether in the mosque, out the mosque. It makes no difference.
Right.
All of us owe a debt of gratitude to this man. Look at what he was giving us in 65. Look at what the Muslims want.
Yeah.
You're talking about police brutality and mob beatings in 1965? What?
That's right.
What? We have to do a better job.
We do.
Of lifting up the value of what he gave us.
Yes.
We have to help his minister to do this.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a hard job, but you know, Allah lays not on any soul a burden or a duty beyond this scope. You just didn't know you could do it.
Yes.
You didn't know.
No.
You say, "Oh man, what's this? I done got into. I'm out there now. I can't back out. I'm trapped." But your help is here. Your
Yes.
help is present. You'll see.
The Honorable
You'll
Minister
see.
Louis Farrakhan told me to not worry about, it was the first thing he said to me, one of the first things. And Sister Letha's in the chat, she was there. And he said, don't worry about where your help is going to come from. And it freed up so much because it allowed me to just flow. And, you know, he recently told me just focus on yourself. And so I've been really focusing on just cleaning up myself as a conduit. And, you know, I now live in this metaphysical world, Brother Wali, where it's, you know, I'm used to it now. It's always something happens. Sometimes at night I'll say, Allah, y'all gonna let me sleep tonight? But sometimes you may see me online, I look a little sleepy, but they're always coming. I just, you know, I flow with it. I'm no longer married to that schedule of saying, okay, it's 10 o'clock, I gotta go to sleep. If they got something that they want to put on my mind, or if they wake me up 1 o'clock in the morning, if Allah says, get up, pray, and meditate on this. And so then I just allow myself, and allow is not the right word, but I have to say that from an egoic standpoint, I have to use the word allow, because the ego always wants to push back and be special.
Well, the Bible said if Jesus knocks on the door, you gotta open. So it is allowed.
Yeah.
It is allowed, because you could say, no, I'm not, we ain't buying today.
That's true. No.
But you know, when he got you, sis, notice the words of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He didn't say don't be concerned. He said don't worry.
He said don't worry.
And again, we are functional illiterates, not you, absolutely not you, but we have gotten so lazy because the words of a divine man we don't pay good attention to.
Mm-hmm.
A man who is the representative of the greatest man who has ever lived.
Yes.
Well, I know the teachings, brother. What are you talking about? Ain't nobody that's in the circle of 24 come for where the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is.
No.
Now, if you want to go there with me, please come on.
No.
Because I'm going to do you like this. How you want it? 1 to the chest or 2 to the back of the head? Because you're going to get it. You're going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
Because this man here took a process that was designed to last for hundreds of years.
Yes.
To reconcile man with God is a 1,000-year process. Go back and get one of them saviors that he was talking. I think it might have been 64, 65.
Okay.
He was talking about Muhammad Ali. He said,
I
think he said they wanted to mess up that pretty face of yours.
Yes.
He said, but Allah and myself said, no, stop.
Yes. Yes.
When does a messenger say something with Allah? When you read the Quran, that's Allah telling the messenger what to say. He said, say this, say that.
Yeah.
When does a messenger say with Allah? See, we sleep. You can go and read, Our Savior Has Arrived. He tells the Arab world, prepare yourself for all that you hear coming from the mouth of Messenger Elijah Muhammad. He wrote the book in 74. I think it's pretty clear now that he knew when he was going to not be among us the very date.
That's right.
So what was he talking about? His ministers say that he told him when he got the house on Woodlawn, he said, Muhammad not going to be sitting up in this mighty fine house with his with his feet propped up. He gonna be working to put the whole 17 million in a house just like this.
That's right. That's what.
Well, you bought it in 72. You knew when you was leaving. So what Muhammad was you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that ever met him, they'll tell you that he could tell them things about themselves and their future.
Yeah.
How did he know?
Yes.
How was he able to buy farmland in the 60s?
Mm.
My family is from Bowler G, Alabama, Greene County, Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
He bought 5,000 acres of farmland down there.
Wow.
They tell me that the soil is so rich, it's second only to the Nile Delta in fertility.
Yeah. I remember the minister talking about states and what states we would want, and Alabama was one of them, remember?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Mm-hmm.
And Mississippi.
And
He called it Miss Slippy.
Yeah. Yeah, we're so blessed. And every time I'm blessed to either speak with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan or just be in his presence, or I try to listen to at least one lecture or half a lecture a day. And I just witness, and I can just feel him identifying demons inside of us and just snatching them out, Brother Wali. It's just phenomenal. It's stuff you didn't even know was there. He'll ask you a question and then just shoot. And next thing you know, you might get off the phone or walk away from the lecture or turn the TV off and say, wait a minute, something just changed. I'm a little higher than I was when I first started listening to this. Something's different. And so for me, my love for them is so great. And I traveled all around the world, Brother Wali, and I used to have this thing called my Jesus Within. And so I would think about, because, my only connection to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and his love. And so I think about how much I love him, and it conjures up a feeling in my heart, a feeling in my solar plexus and in my body and in my mind. And so I can call that feeling up at will outside of his physical presence. And so whenever I need him, I call him up like that. And so that it just enhances and multiplies that, that love. And so when I think about the museum and the house and sharing that love, I think about how blessed I am to be able to be in spaces, Brother Wali, where you knew me back then when I was 21, 22 years old. Who would have thunk it, right? When Brother Kamal said I was so skinny I could hula hoop with a Cheerio and I need to eat more than broccoli every day. I'm the little one in the office that Brother Wazir is drilling and about business, but I'm just grateful. I'm grateful. I'm grateful, to my parents for preparing me for that. And I'm just grateful for the way that Allah moved into and interfered in my own affairs, or what I thought was my little affairs. And that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan accepted me in his circle as he accepts everyone else. But I just felt like I just had a special trail. And I'm grateful to just have you on the show today because you were there at the beginning, at the inception. And some of those old stories, if I tell them, I say, look, I know one person can bear witness. That's Captain Jack. He know. Brother Wale know. That's what we called him back then, y'all. For those who didn't know, Captain Jack. And Captain Jack was like you was like the protector. You would just come and check in. And like I said, I still be at the Javits Center and came and checked. But you came in, you said, sister, everybody's gone. Why are you still here? And I'm thinking to myself, what? You said, well, let's go. And it was so dangerous that weekend. I'm just grateful for you. So I just want to, not just for that, but for your steadfastness, the way you always bring the spirit, and just for being a witness bearer. I can say that you're a witness bearer of my life as a Muslim woman.
Praise be to Allah. I'm honored to witness the little bit that I have seen of you.
Yeah.
And really the indefatigable spirit that Allah has given you.
Yeah.
And you love those men because you love the word.
Yes.
See, we are doing the devil's bidding by distinguishing the man from the word. See, but if you don't love the word, you will never truly love the man.
No.
You love the outward of the man. But like he has said to us, and you heard him say, if you don't know me from scripture, you don't know me.
No, that's right.
See, so this is why people run out of gas.
Mm-hmm.
The most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, prayer is like putting gas in your tank. It keeps you going.
Mm-hmm.
So what you getting tired for?
Mm-hmm.
You must be running low on fuel, huh? Well, the Spirit of God is in the Word of God.
Yes.
So the more you study and partake of the Word, like he's taught us, it has the highest degree of electrical energy is in the revealed Word of God to Muhammad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're a student in that Word, how dare you be tired? How dare you be low in spirit and energy? You need to let me take you in the corner like a good corner man and smack the hell out of you with some smelling salt. Bam! Snap out of it. That's where we're at. We need a good corner man with some smelling salt. Where you at, man? I'm in Boston. Pow! No, we in Chicago. Get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we need. Mm-hmm. Because the word is losing its value. See, and when the word loses its value, then it loses value because you don't believe you're going to become a manifestation of that word, which is God himself.
Okay, I see.
So when you don't believe you're going to become God, then what is the purpose of the word?
I see. Yes.
And this is written right in Closing the Gap.
Yes, it is. I know. I understand. Yeah. Thank you, Brother Wali, for joining me tonight. And we're going to raise this last little money and have us a good time finishing up this museum. I've done all the heavy lifting. It's over a $5 million project. We got another $500,000 to go.
You did 90%.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, when I get back there, Allah willing, we're going to knock on some doors.
Yes, sir. I'm right.
And I know what doors to knock on, too.
Okay.
And they're not going to tell us no. It's going to only just be how much. Because really, one person I know can write the check and you be done.
Let's do it.
What are we waiting on?
All
of these people who have benefited in the business world. You got my brother there who's the president of broadcast marketing sales for Black Entertainment Television, former student of Muhammad University of Islam. You got many, many men of renown and women. We just got to speak to them in a language that they understand.
Well, Brother Wali, right now, my goal is to help make the minister's word bond, because he said to me, he said, you're going to finish it this year. You're going to get the money. I want to make his word bond, and I don't want to depend on him to make his word bond. I want to help make his word bond, and let's get the rest of it by December 31st. Let's get going. I want to be able to make that phone call and say to him, Brother Minister, your word is bond. I've envisioned that, and I already know how I'm gonna feel. I got it. I want to be able to say, Brother Minister, even his word is always bond, and I'm not insinuating any other way. But in this particular case, it was just a word that he gave to me that I don't want to be lazy on. So thank
you, sister. And I pledge to help you with any and everything that I can.
Thank you,
Let's
sir.
go on. Let's go on and close.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
just go and close.
Yes,
It's
sir.
not a lot of money.
No, it's not.
It's really not a lot of money. And sometimes we make the mistake in looking at our pocket. Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad
Instead of
said the
looking at our
coin is in,
Lord's pocket, right?
look, he said the coin is in the fish's mouth. He didn't say it was in our pocket. He said it's in the fish's mouth.
Mm-hmm. Let's put this coin in the fish's mouth then.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Brother Wali. Safe travels back to the Shy, back to headquarters. Inshallah, I'll see you this weekend.
Yes, ma'am. Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Thank you. Thank you for the honor, Sister
Please
Sajdah.
give your family the greetings.
I will. You do the same, and you tell that Sister Letha
She right in here. I see her.
that we love her and ain't nothing she can do about it.
You see her
Ain't nothing she
size
can
and
do about it.
everything. Then she said, I thank Allah for you, Brother Wali. You have indeed always been a protector, a soldier, a teacher. Listen, we know this brother right here, if historically we could tell some more stories. We're going to have a whole round table discussion around the fireplace at the museum talking about.
You know, that term fireplace always made me laugh because the Quran talks about on the brink of a pit of fire. So I always knew that's really what he meant.
Assalamu alaikum, Brother Wali.
Yes, salam. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. See you soon, inshallah.
All right.
Oh, man, what a wonderful show. Thank you all. I see y'all in the chat. I see Sister Aletha. She got the faces and everything. And let's see who else we got in here. Brother Victor said, thank you, Brother Wali, for a wonderful visit. And Sister Sandra says, alhamdulillah, thank you. Sister Sandra saying, teach Brother Wali. Brother was bringing it, talking about revelation. We got PBJ. Imagine following a white man's religion, but being pro-black. Wow, that's deep. I didn't see that one. That would have been a good discussion point. Sister Betty says she loved the history. Y'all know Sister Betty. She got the best spirit. She is so animated and so loving and so sweet. So shout out to Sister Betty. Just warriors. Yes, yes, yes. Y'all be all right. I'm so excited and I just can't hide it. That's that song. I'm so excited. Same person said I was looking at English C1 and there's something I noticed. I think the first half of it was meant to be recognized. Does that have anything to do with the above question number 10? Number 10 wasn't a question though. Interesting. We got to all go back and take a look at that. Let's see what other comments we have here. Greetings, mother. Sister Nubia is here also. All right. So thank you all. Appreciate it. Make sure you support the completion of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House Museum. Look at Brother Torian here. He said, excellent interview, wonderful show. Sister Dawn is here for a beautiful discussion. Sister Dawn is one of our experienced reps. So you can go to supportsajdahouse.com. It's going to give you all the different ways that you can pay because I like to make it easy. You all know when I coach you, I say, make it easy for people to pay you, okay? So it gives you all the different ways in which you can donate and which you can support. Of course, buy the coin, get your commemorative Elijah coin. Right now, we're having a Savior's Day sale, which we're going to continue through Savior's Day. Inshallah, we sell out by December 31st. But you just got to use the discount code SD24 at sajdahouse.com. And there's other ways. I put the Cash App in there. There's Zelle. There's sponsorship opportunities available if you want. But take a moment right now, tonight, this evening, and support the completion of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House. Again, thank you for joining us. May Allah bless each and every one of you all. As you all saw, Brother Wali mentioned, and we mentioned early, that the Janazah services for our beloved brother Joshua Farrakhan are Saturday at 10 a.m. at Mas Mariam. You probably seen that posted. I think the final call, Brother Russell had it posted on Instagram if you need to go and see it. But with that, family, also Black Friday is coming up. Make sure you buy Black Muslim and buy Black on Black Friday. So we're going to get out of here. See you Saturday morning, 6 a.m. for the Sajdah Saturday Morning Coffee Talk. We are on episode 11 of The Proper Handling of People. Thank you all. Assalamu alaikum.
You belong to yourself. You're an independent people, created from the nation of free people. Yes, sir. You don't need to go nowhere but to yourself. Yes, sir. There will be a great separation. Yes, sir. So I said, it is on now.
The college is meant to prepare you for your future. That the time dictates that if we don't do something for ourselves as a people, we will be destroyed. And the aim of the enemy right now is to take us out.
We have God with us. We have Him as our guide. Yes, sir. We don't have to stand around here and ask the question, what must be done? Yes, sir. Get up and let's go and do something. Yes, sir. We cannot sit down. We cannot lay down. Yes, sir. We must get up. Yes, sir. And go to work.
Do you know what real joy is in life? Visioning something and bringing it into reality. That's real joy. Do you know what the next step in joy is? Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell in unity.
Tonight, you need to fasten your seatbelts. We're going to hear from some of the greatest minds in the world. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of trusting our future and the future of our children into the hands of those who don't love us. I believe we need to revitalize Black leadership.